First of all, welcome to all of you. My name is Bruce Lukey, and I have the absolute honor to be the board chair for Homeport. And I'd like to welcome all of you here tonight, and also our founders. And this is a very special time. It's part one of our 25th year celebration, and part two will be across the hall in a few minutes. You know, what Homeport does for this community and the needs of the community, you know, are so great. And so it really is an honor to be able to honor the founders here tonight. And they'll all say something in their own words, so let's get the show started. So first I'd like to introduce actually one of my favorite people. Maud is the Vice President of Governmental and Community Relations, and I think she's been with Homeport for 24 years. 23? 24? All right, with that, everyone knows Maud, so Maud, go.
Good evening. It's an honor for me to see the evolution and growth of Homeport over this past 25 years. Many of the founders I have worked with, and it's been a great learning experience for me. We're also thankful for the vision, and if it had not been for our founders, we would not be here today. I'm also going to recognize two of our original board members, Ginger Cunningham and Reverend John Edward. I have the opportunity also tonight to recognize some of our public officials and staff. And we have someone who is one of the founders, a partner, and someone we love very much, our very own mayor of Columbus, Michael B. Coleman. We have Columbus Development Housing Administrator, Rita Parise. We have Assistant Director of Columbus Department of Development, Nikki Brandon. We have Assistant Director to Economic Development and is representing Franklin County Board of Commissioners, Rollins Sewell. We have Franklin County Auditor's Office. We have Bella Lynn, Hardy, Mark, and Tyler here this evening with us. We also have our city attorney, Rick Pfeiffer. We have representative from Congressman Steve Stiver's office, Adam Rapin. We have representative from Senator Sherrod Brown's office, Ed Roberts. And if I have missed someone else, we were expecting, oh, I'm so sorry. We have Council Member Eileen Haley with us also. And if I have missed anyone, please, I'm apologizing, and if you would raise your hand and let me know that you are here. Thank you so very much, and thank you again for coming out to join us as we celebrate our 25th anniversary. Thank you.
Well, now I'd like to introduce Ed Roberts, and the Central Ohio Regional Director for the Honorable Sherrod Brown. And Senator Brown's worked very tirelessly to advocate for the programs that improve the lives of the people here in Central Ohio. And he's been a supporter of neighborhood revitalization and stabilization programs, foreclosure prevention programs, and most recently Project Rebuild. So, Ed?
Well, good evening. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of attending the kickoff of the But For campaign at The Ohio State University. And they challenged everyone to say, but for The Ohio State University, where would I be? Well, since that kickoff, I have found that those two words apply to many organizations and people in our community. But for Amy, but for Maud, what would Homeport be? But for Homeport, what would the state of housing be in our community? But for 25 years of commitment to affordable housing, where would our community be? We all owe you a debt of gratitude. So on behalf of Senator Brown, I want to present you with this commendation. I want to thank you for your service, but more importantly, your friendship. Congratulations. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Adam Rabian from Congressman Steve Stiver's office. Steve has also been a wonderful supporter of affordable housing and the issues over the years. Adam.
Good evening. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know I'm personally looking forward to hearing from the founders and hearing all about your involvement with the organization over the past 25 years and the storied past that it's had. But Congressman Stivers is unable to attend tonight. He regrets that and wanted me to come out with a commendation and thank you all for your service to our community here. And please, we'll of course stay in contact. Let us know how we can help be helpful so we can have another fantastic 25 years of hard work here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Adam. And now I'd like to introduce Councilwoman Eileen Paley. I'm sorry. My notes got in the way of the script. The City Council has also been just a wonderful supporter.
On behalf of Council President Andy Ginther and Council Pro Tem Troy Miller and the rest of City Council, I'm here to congratulate Homeport for their 25 years helping this city, as the mayor would say, to be a great place to live, work, and raise your family. Congratulations, and I also can't wait to hear from the founders, so I'll move on. We also brought a resolution of expression that was passed by all the members of City Council to recognize the 25 years of Homeport. Thank you.
Councilmember Paley, thank you. And now Amy Clayman, our President and Executive Director.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our 25th anniversary. It's just amazing to know we've been in this community for 25 years. I'm so honored to be here tonight with such a distinguished group of community leaders, our founding members. So 25 years ago, you had a dream. Now, 25 years later, there are over 5,000 people who sleep in our homes every night. And that represents a $210 million investment in our community. And that's just the housing part. That doesn't represent all the programs we provide that are so important to family success. We would simply not be here tonight without your vision, determination, and ability to raise the community's awareness about the need for affordable housing. So thank you. On behalf of Homeport's Board of Directors, staff, and most importantly, the people we serve, thank you for blazing the trail 25 years ago. Tonight, we are presenting to each of our founders a token of appreciation for all that you've done. We have a picture of your impact. Here's a picture. It reads, if we only had the brains, the heart, and the courage, everyone would have a home. So you can see it on the t-shirt, on the sweatshirt. It's in the picture up there. This is a phrase that Don Kelly, one of our founders, put on the sweatshirts that were given to people when we opened Emerald Glen Apartments in 1995. Emerald Glen Apartments was named after the Emerald City from the Wizard of Oz. And clearly, you have the brains, the heart, and the courage to make sure that everyone has a home. You have inspired us, and you continue to inspire us today. It is our dream and passion to turn our visions into reality. And that's what we did in 1995 when we saw this vacant piece of land and turned it into homes for families at Emerald Glen. Today, Emerald Glen is home to 130 families and our most active and successful community learning center for the families who live there. So thank you. Now, this is my favorite part. I am privileged to introduce Bob Weiler, a founder and our host for tonight's event. So I said Bob was a founder, but he's been a friend and supporter for the past 25 years. On a personal level, Bob has been an advisor and a role model. And when I think about the hard decisions I have to make as a CEO, I'll sometimes think, well, how would Bob solve this problem? And it helps me think through, well, what's the right thing to do? Because we at Homeport always want to do the right thing. And so thank you for being there for us, Bob. Bob, together with Don Kelly, have been willing to take leaps of faith with us. His most recent leap was in supporting our service coordination program for those who live with us. So it's not just the homes, it's the programs that together ensure the success of our families. So this is a holistic and very personal approach to resolving issues that ensure our family's success. Bob, thank you for always being there for us.
Thank you, Amy. What an honor it is for me to be here as the Master of Ceremonies or host of one of the most successful programs in the country. And the reason it's so successful is because of each of you and your agencies and organizations and companies who've agreed to work together, because we all know the importance of having a roof over our head. And it started with the realtors. And by the way, is she a dynamo or what? Amy. Many of you may not know, Amy was originally legal counsel for Columbus Housing Partnership many years ago. She was doing such a good job that when the opening was there, the board was smart enough to bring her in, and she's taken us to new heights, great heights. Well, let me tell you, I would not be here if it weren't for my partner of 40-plus years, Don Kelly. The truth of the matter is no one else would be here either. Because it was Don, as Amy said, who had the vision. And that vision came, and Don will tell you the story himself, but Don was our president of the Board of Realtors back in 1984. And so how important it was for Don and for the Board of Realtors to recognize that we have those who can't afford, under current conditions, to have their own home. And so it was Don's idea to bring Jim Rouse here. And I don't want to steal his thunder, but Don, not only do I thank you for being here, but I thank you for supporting me for these last 45 years, too. Because if those of you who don't know, Don's not only been my close friend and partner, but he's also been my banker. Fortunately, I get the last word, so I don't care what he says. We did turn the heat up a little bit here so that the speakers will realize that we're supposed to be out here by 6. So Don said to me earlier today, he says, Weiler, if you get all these people who are on the founders out of here by 6 o'clock, you're a genius. Well, don't pretend to be a genius, but we are going to ask for a minute or 2 minutes from various people. But the next person we have no limitation on, and that is the Mayor of Columbus. And I'd just like to say this about our mayor, who has certainly provided great leadership to our city for many years now. And his legacy, among other things, is going to be strong neighborhoods in our city. And I say that virtually all parts of the city. We talk about the King Lincoln District and the East American Edition, which is our Homeport's Columbus Housing Partnership. What's going on the South Side now that Reverend Edgar is very active in, and of course Don Kelly too, Parsons Avenue, the Hilltop, as well as in the Franklinton area, Wingate, you tell them the park, and Short North and downtown. I'm sorry, there's so many areas that the mayor has been working on that the city is better for it. And Mayor, it's because you've been able to bring all these different groups together that we're here tonight. So thank you for your leadership. And I think I have a portable mic. Should I take this with me? If you don't mind, we would like a few words from you, and there's no limitation on you. Other than 2 minutes.
Right here? Right here? Say a few words. First of all, I want to thank all these folks behind me. These folks are the ones that put all this together. I'm proud of their work. They care about the city. They care about the future of the city. Homeport has been fabulous. You have been a dynamo. You've just been through it all, the thick and thin, and Amy and everybody, thank you so much. And I was looking through this brochure and paging through it, and it has a timeline. And I saw a picture of me from a long time ago. Don't ever use that picture again. But it was one good thing about it. 2, my hair was dark, and I had it. So that part's all right. But you've done marvelous work. And the 5,000 units, the 5,000 people you've helped, the 2,000 homes, you know, everything from American Edition, which is really, you know, remember Extreme Homemaker and how that all came to Columbus, and we had a national highlight on one of this organization's greatest moments. And to take that area and to help transform it, I'm so grateful for you and Homeport. The work you've done on the east side, Novo, everywhere you've touched has made people's lives better, made the city of Columbus better, and I can't say enough how happy and pleased we are with all that you have done to make sure our city is a better place to live, to work, and to raise a family. Keep doing it, because there continues to be a need. The need hasn't gone away. In fact, it's greater. It's greater now than it ever has been. The work that needs to be done on the south side, watch Don Kelly, because he's always got his hands in my pockets. He's good for it, but he's good on his own money too. I appreciate that, his own initiative. And there's so much work to do in our neighborhoods, and with this foreclosure crisis that has hit our nation, has hit our city, the need for Homeport is even greater today than it was 25 years ago. So let's keep this going, keep it working, and God bless you, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Martin McDermott gets the award for coming the furthest. He came here from Cleveland especially for today. For the last 15 years, he's been with Enterprise. And Mark, we're certainly happy that you saw fit to come down to be with us. So if you could say a few words.
I'll sit. For those of you in the room that knew Mr. Rouse, James Rouse, you know that this was a man of incredible vision. I would say one of the most visionary men, Americans of the 20th century. And 30 years ago, he took a vision where he believed that cities were really the place where the best was possible amongst humans, not just Americans, but humans. And that the future of cities was crucial for our civilization. And that in America, we had the opportunity to not only have great cities, places that we would call great, sustainable, walkable neighborhoods, et cetera, not only that we would have great cities, but that we would have cities that had a commitment to providing opportunity to those who were most in need in that community. And he married that vision of great cities and opportunity for the most needy in Enterprise Foundation, now Enterprise Community Partners. And Jim who died some 16 years ago actually. But Jim was extremely happy with the opportunity to come to Columbus and help support the start of the Columbus Housing Partnership. Not to start it, but to support the work and the startup of it. I tell you, if Jim were alive and where he is now, he'd be so happy to know that that tradition was continued of building a great city arm in arm with the mayor and everyone else, and at the same time making sure that those who are most in need were provided with opportunity to create great lives for themselves. And I'm sure others will tell the rest of the story.
Thank you, Mark. Do you mind just handing it to Doug? I think maybe we'll hand it as we come down. Doug Kreidler, if you know anything about Columbus and the Columbus Foundation, you know Doug. You won't find anybody who's more sensitive to and concerned about the various needs within our city. And the Columbus Foundation has just become an important instrument for all of us in terms of financial aid to so many different organizations, including Homeport. So, Doug, do you mind saying a few words?
No, thank you very much. All I could do is blow such a nice introduction. Sorry, I'll do my best. First of all, you might have heard 8 years ago, Ohio was called the center of the universe in the coming presidential election. And then you hear it more and more 4 years ago, and now you're hearing it now. And you're hearing that the center of the universe is Columbus, Ohio. So think about that as a metaphor, both one, how hot it is in the center of the universe, but two, how homes are the center of the universe for families and the stability of families as they go about living their lives productively. So I want to celebrate that both as a metaphor and as an aspiration. Second of all, I want to say that we're very proud to have been one of the founders. I don't want to take any credit for that. I haven't been at the foundation for 25 years, so it's important that I lift up the work of Jim Luck and others who were involved in the early days and say thank you. But one thing that I have said often over the time that I have been there is no effective philanthropy without effective nonprofits. And so I would just say this. Homeport has been an extraordinarily effective nonprofit. So in that way, I want to single them out as the best performing general purpose affordable housing provider in a community that desperately needs affordable housing. So the need that they are fulfilling and the way in which they're doing it is fantastic. So congratulations to the board and my fellow folks on stage. I just want to make this one observation. This array of founders may have made Homeport possible, but a woman in leadership has made Homeport happen and successful. So once again, I want to celebrate Amy's leadership. And though they're all males here, we all celebrate we're your chorus leading and being your backup singers for success. So congratulations.
Columbus Board of Realtors has been a strong component of this organization, of Columbus Housing Partnership in Homeport. One of the reasons is we've had extremely strong CEO leadership with Larry Metzger and Stan Collins. Stan goes back to the 25 years. He's been a loyal member of this organization. He currently serves on the board. I see a lot of realtors here, including past presidents. I just want to say a lot of that is due to you, Stan, and your leadership, and of course starting with Don as one of your earlier presidents. So Stan, thank you for all you've done.
Well, thank you very much. In the interest of time and temperature, I'll resort to a trick my children taught me when trying to conserve time. Count to 100. 1, 2, skip a few, 99, 100. So, but I just want to point out and share one thing that, and you've heard about Amy, and that was a perfect segue into her leadership. Is that the Columbus Board of Realtors selected Amy Clavin to be our 2012 Citizen of the Year this year, and we're very, very proud. There were a lot of people to choose from, and I think some of the people that were on that selection committee are in the room, but a lot of people to choose from around Columbus doing some great things, but you definitely rose to the top for this year's award, and we appreciate you very much. And as much as we appreciate everything that Homeport does, is, you know, I'm here representing all the members of the Columbus Board of Realtors, but I look around the room and there are a lot of us here today, and I'd ask you to raise your hands, but we're all probably already overheated. So I just want to say, and Amy made this comment when she received the award, and I think it really says it all. And when she described it as this is a team honor. And she said, from my staff to our board of trustees, we have all worked together to make the impossible happen. And every day for Central Ohio, families looking for a safe, decent, and affordable housing. The realtors are very proud of Amy and Homeport, and for making it happen for the past 25 years and on into the future. Thank you.
Next speaker is Dr. Dexter Wise, pastor, who's had a long and strong affiliation with Homeport.
Thank you so very much. Praise the Lord, everybody. I'm glad to be here and humbled by this honor to receive from Columbus Homeport. It's been said that you can always count the amount of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the amount of apples in a seed. And what we have done, those persons who are privileged to be here today, is we've only planted seeds, hoping and praying that they would give rise or birth to others. What we did 25 years ago, I just sowed some seeds, but all the credit goes to the ones who actually fertilized the ground and watered it and made sure that it grew up. So I thank you for the work that you have done. I thank you for honoring us for the little that we have done, and we continue to support you as you go forward.
Jimmy, hold that.
While Max is taking off his coat, let me just let me take just a second to before you start, Max. Or are you through? I didn't know. No, but before Max, I want to just take a second to recognize those who were unable to make it here. Starting with Bob Szymanski, who was a loyal member, from the beginning, wasn't he? Robert S. Crane Jr., Bob Crane, Dan Galbraith, and his niece, Diane Albrecht. Do you mind standing so we can at least recognize you, Diane? Catherine Levesque, who you all know, Paul Minas, Robert Potts, and Carol Williams. So we thank all of them. Now back to the stage. Max, you're on a 30-second timetable.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. But I know almost everyone in this room. And you know, there's something special that threads all of you together. You're blessed with common sense. And you roll up your sleeves and you get to work. But what I want to tell you is how this thing really started. Kelly and I went to Washington, D.C. to do a little talking with our congressman. And we went first to meet our senator, and the senator said, well, ask them how much money they're going to give me, and I'm not going to see them unless they're going to give me a lot of money. True. Then the congressman, John Casey, you remember John? Everybody knows John. I think so. Casey, we finally had to say, John, we got to go. And he was a very good representative in Congress. So after this, I mean, we were 11 o'clock. So we walked down the street. Kelly says, do you think we could get a beer and shoot a little pool between now and 4 o'clock this afternoon? And I said, well, yeah, but I don't know the town very well. Kelly says, wait a minute, no, I got a better idea. He said, there's a guy by a retired festive marketplace developer, Federal in Boston and the one in Toledo. And his name is Jim Rouse. And his office, the name of his company is the Enterprise Foundation, and their office here. I said, well, let's go walk over there and see what we can learn. And let me tell you, we learned a lot. Jim had it down to a science. He had a place on the street where homeless people could come and get a cup of coffee and a donut or two for a nickel, because he wanted them to come into an environment where they could talk to them. And from there, he put them in group housing, double duplexes, 6 men. And from there, they filled out job applications, and they changed from being homeless, non-employed, to working poor, and that's important. We came back to Columbus and had a little meeting with Bob and with Irving Schottenstein. And we formed 2 non-for-profits, the Columbus Housing Partnership and the Columbus-Franklin County Housing Commission. The Housing Commission was to work with the political sectors and get money in to fund Columbus Housing Partnership's renovation of apartments, homes for the working poor. Now, everybody on the political stage at that time was pleased to have their picture taken with the new CHP and the Columbus-Franklin County Housing Commission. But when it came time to find a line in the budget, that didn't work. So then's when we went to the private sector. And the Columbus Board of Realtors was our first place. And I remember going before the Board of Trustees, and you, Margie, were on that Board of Trustees, and I asked for $50,000. And Margie stood up and said, I think we ought to not give to a whole lot of things that we were giving to. Linden, house painting, and so forth. We ought to give it and get behind Columbus Housing Partnership, and that's what we did. And the realtors in this state of Ohio are beholden to everyone. The first CEO, Irving, interviewed 10 people and selected Beth Hughes. And everybody from Beth Hughes to Amy has done a marvelous job.
Thank you, Max, very much. Since Bob's dad has been mentioned more than once, and deservedly so, Don Kelly and Irv Schottenstein were best of friends. And it just so happened that the company, MI Homes, was the largest builder in Central Ohio and has remained that way, thanks largely to Bob Schottenstein, who has also found his way to be the chair at Ohio State University and other places. But it was really Irv who brought the builders in that played an instrumental part. So Bobby, we're sure happy you're here.
Thank you, Bob, and I'm very proud to be here. In fact, I want to make sure I hold up my little placard because I'm really here for 2 reasons. One is I was lucky enough to be Irving's son, and I know how badly he would want to be here, although he'd probably call one of our maintenance men and have him fix the air conditioner. So that's one reason that I'm here. But the other is because of the great individual sitting to my right, and that's Don Kelly. And I actually remember, I was thinking about it on the way down here, when Don must have called my dad, and I remember my dad had a brief meeting with Mel Schottenstein, and for many that are here, you know Mel was the M&M. By the way, an individual who was intensely committed to the homeless. In fact, but for Mel, the homeless shelter in Columbus never would have gotten started. So this was a cause that was interesting. It was very important to him as well. But I remember sitting at the meeting, and my dad starts to say, we got to get involved in this organization, and Mel says, what? And he says, just a minute, Don Kelly called, and if it's important to Don, it's important to us. And that was all that needed to be said. And Don's passion for this, of course, you know, it's visceral. I mean, his son Tim was the chair for a while, and it's been something that I know has been important to the whole family. And It's an honor to sit up here with all these folks, and frankly, before I close, I also want to say, back when the mayor and I both had more hair, we used to work together back in the mid-'80s, and one thing I'll say about our mayor, he's cared about the neighborhoods of this city even when he was just a lawyer like me. And it's one thing to care, it's another thing to know how to put that caring into action, and we're all deeply indebted to him for the leadership that he's provided on that without fail for a long, long time. And Bob, I just want to say to you, we've been lucky to support the great work of this organization that Amy now leads. But the truth is, and I want to say this in the right way, I don't think we've done enough. And I think that the real message is there's more work to be done, and we need to do more. And I think everybody in this room needs to find a way to do more. And homeownership is and always will be the American dream, and I think that we all owe something to see to it that that dream is fulfilled and realized by as many families as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Bob, you've given us a challenge that we're going to make the next 25 years even better than the first. Thanks for those words. Now let me just say the best partner a guy could ever have, Don Kelly.
And without doubt, the fatherhood.
Amy said that Bob was her model. Well, he's my banker. Several years ago, we saw the neighborhood beginning to decline. And one of the things you learn as an appraiser is if one or two houses in an area are allowed to deteriorate, it impacts the rest of them. And when I was president of Columbus Board of Realtors, I realized that the private sector couldn't move in and do that, couldn't fix up these houses because the cost would exceed the value of doing it. And not only that, existing homeowners in the area would realize they can't throw money down the drain. And as the mayor said, today's worse than it was then. I agree with that. But this mayor is trying to do something about it. Jim Rouse was a shopping center developer, and he decided to get into the business as a passion to help the housing inventory in deteriorating sections be restored, remodeled, rehabilitated, and modernized. We went to see his operation, the Enterprise Foundation in Columbia, Maryland. And I was very impressed by the business person who he had hired and the activities that they were doing and the successes they enjoyed up until that date. So impressed that I asked if Jim Rouse would come back to Columbus and give a talk to the Columbus area people. He came back to Columbus, the Columbus Board of Realtors, sponsored a meeting of leading business people in the community. And after that, that business community came together. Now, all you have to look and see who was on that group. In implementing this, I called my good friend Irv Schottenstein. I said, Irv, you've got to be able to get some in-kind donations. And you have to be able to get some people to do some things to help us. And they did. And Irv put together the home builders. Charlie Room was around at that time. Put together the home builders and the Columbus Board of Realtors in an effort to marry the efficiency of the private sector to the necessity of housing to meet the poor needs. That was Jim Rouse's theory. I think it's worked to date, and Amy is a representative of how that works. Now, when Amy came over to the partnership, Amy was a lawyer, young lawyer. She's young now, but she was younger then. Came over as a young lawyer, And I'll never forget her there because she was pregnant with her first child. And she's been involved ever since, and she's really grown the business, grown the operation, and grown the influence. And we're grateful for that. One final thing. I knew that Ginger Cunningham was going to be here, and my wife said on the way down, "Do you remember Ginger?" And I said, "You know, I don't." I went in the hallway. I said she was a nice gal. So I went in the hallway, and she said, "Don Kelly, how you doing?" "I'm Ginger Cunningham." So anyway, it's a privilege for me to be associated with this group. And I agree with Bob Schottenstein. And incidentally, his dad would be very proud of him. And his dad was one of a kind. Just a great guy and a great interest in the community. Bob? Where's Bob? I'm right here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don. Needless to say, this organization owes its foundation to Don, and so because of your commitment, Don, not only your compassion, but the fact that you had the intelligence to know this will work in Columbus, and there are very few who could have pulled this off. And you and Irving and Max and the others were able to pull it off. And thanks to all of you here, who are here and who have supported this organization. And Amy, are you ready to dip in? Okay. Don, do you want? Do you want to? You left your coat there and it's gone? Okay. Out once.
All right, can we stand? Those who are not already standing. The value of a toast is not what you're drinking, but what you're toasting. And tonight we are toasting and appreciating 25 years of life, of service and legacy, and 25 more years, which will be greater than the ones that have passed.